Hey guys, how's it going? It's that nerd Ryan here, and today we're going to be discussing what Deadpool 3 is going to look like. So, with the acquisition of Fox by Disney, we now finally have the X-Men at our disposal for the MCU. And luckily we've been told that Deadpool will be keeping the same consistency as 1 and 2, and being an R-rated film in the MCU proper, which kind of brings up a lot of questions. So I'm going to bring up 3 questions today and try to answer them as best as possible. And then we'll see when it plays out and how it plays out when the movie finally comes out. Now, we don't have an official release date or anything like that for Deadpool 3 due to what's been going on in the world, thank you. But, yeah, so let's talk about it. So, first question is, how are Deadpool 1 and 2 going to tie into the MCU? So there are 2 possible outcomes from this. They kind of sound obvious, but I'm going to explain them a little just so it makes a little more sense. So the first one being that the multiverse happens and Deadpool's just pulled in like that. And then the other option is that Deadpool was in the MCU the whole time and just kind of off camera, sort of. So what I mean by the first one of the multiverse, obviously we know that Wanda's been dabbling in the multiverse and Multiverse of Madness is going to happen. That what's probably going to happen in Multiverse of Madness is everybody's going to start getting pulled in to the MCU proper that they want to keep from the other movies. So I highly doubt this would be a thing, but like, let's say for example, since we don't have a actual Ghost Rider in the MCU, they pull in Nicolas Cage from whatever Earth they want to call his Earth from into the MCU proper. Or like the Defenders, it sounds like we're getting Charlie Cox back and the actor that played Luke Cage, and maybe even the actress that played Jessica Jones coming back, as well as John Barenthal as Punisher coming back. So, contrary to popular belief, the Defender shows are not in MCU proper. They're in a little side shoot timeline. So, they're going to probably be brought over in Multiverse of Madness or before it or something like that, since we know that Charlie Cox is going to be in No Way Home. And then stuff like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is a alternate timeline. Maybe we'll be getting some people taken from that in Multiverse or whatever. And of course, they would want to keep whoever they can from the Fox X-Men films that they liked and bringing them over into the MCU proper, just so fans could have familiar faces to the characters that they grew up with. So I could see Deadpool kind of doing that, and we still have the first Marvel movies kind of on the side, as well as, or first 2 Deadpool movies kind of on the side, and then have Deadpool 3 in the MCU proper. I could see this being a good possibility due to 2 facts. One, there's all the X-Men and no Avengers in the first 2 movies. And 2, we would have to explain Ralph Bohner. Because Quicksilver, the real Quicksilver, is in Deadpool 2. Pietro is in WandaVision, both played by the same actor. Can't really play it off that way. Now let's go to option 2 for this question, which is that it was in the MCU the whole time. And they can kind of say this because there was a helicarrier in Deadpool 1. The final fight took place on a helicarrier. So they could kind of just back up with that and say that Deadpool was in the MCU the whole time on its own. But also, you can always reintroduce characters that played other characters in the past non-MCU films and still say that somehow their movies worked into the MCU and the event just wasn't big enough for the Avengers to get called in, Also, and whatever events the Avengers had to deal with, that character could not deal with at that time. We haven't had that happen yet to my knowledge, but it's always a possibility. Question number 2 is, how hard of an R rating will it be? I think it's still going to be a hard R. It sounds like they're going to be giving Deadpool as much free reign as possible. So I don't think they're going to make it a Disney R, even though there's never been a Disney R before to my knowledge. But I could still see them just letting the Deadpool fan base get what they want and everything like that. But then there's also the caveat of, how will Deadpool act in, let's say, Avengers 5 or anything that he gets pulled into? I had a funny idea for this ever since they announced that Deadpool is going to be in the MCU. And it's just, anytime he swears, it literally bleeps it out. And he'll acknowledge it and everything, and then people will be like, why is there beeping when you're doing that? He's like, because it's a PG-13 movie. I can't bleep and say bleep every 5 seconds like I do in my own. And like stuff like that. I could see that, and I think the fans would love it and everything like that. But also, they just might keep Deadpool secluded in his own movies. We could see that. Which then brings to question number 3, which is, who will cameo in this? Now, again, we don't know when Deadpool 3 is officially coming out, so Tom Holland's Spider-Man may be out of contract by the time it comes out, but I have a feeling that if we keep Tom Holland's Spider-Man, he'll have a cameo, just for the fact that we have the Deadpool Spider-Man comics that are a big hit. I think that they would want Spider-Man in that. I could also see Thor being in it, just because of Thor's humor kind of fits with the Deadpool humor. I could also see other characters showing up that are kind of newer to the MCU. I could also see Ant-Man showing up, and just kind of the more funny characters I could see showing up in Deadpool 3. And I feel like it's going to have some sort of epic battle just for the fact of Deadpool didn't get to be included in Avengers 1 through 3, or 1 through 4, and he would probably bring that up and be like, well, now that we got Disney money, I'm getting everybody. And we could kind of see something like that, even if it's as a joke. And who knows, maybe Deadpool 3 will actually be an offshoot and be Deadpool kills the Marvel Universe. Just out of like a grudge or something that he couldn't be in the MCU. He goes to like a very similar Marvel Cinematic Universe and just kills off everybody. And then at the end he comes in the main and he's like, I had a lot of aggression I had to take out. And then just end it there. So, yeah. Thank you guys for watching. Comment below who you guys want to see in Deadpool 3. And make sure you leave a like, comment, subscribe, ring that bell, and follow me on all my social media down below. It's That Nerd Ryan reminding you, we're all superheroes on the